Curlews are a rare sight in Northern Ireland. Thanks to the work of gamekeepers and shooters, the number of chicks is increasing. In the Glenwherry area of the Antrim Plateau, the partnership is a success story that is producing spectacular breeding results. The number of chicks successfully fledged has almost doubled from 2022 compared to 2021. Keepers recorded 69 fledged curlew chicks in Glenwherry this season, building on last year's 28 chicks, which was itself a record.
Last year we had on average of, I think it was 4 chicks per brood, which is unheard of in the island of Ireland. That does not happen, and it's not rocket science at the end of the day. If you're able to, we're very good at fox control and crow control in particular. 3 very good men underneath me and 1 man also doing crow control. So, you know, it's boots on the ground really from grassroots that are getting a lot of those results.
Here in Northern Ireland, it's the work of the gamekeepers and shooters that protect wildlife. As in the rest of the UK, the main ways they do it is to look after the birds' habitat and control their predators. The Countryside Alliance says this is vital work.
It's about striking a balance, and you can't have one over competing on another. And that's really what Merlin and other conservationists are seeking to do, is to make the balance that all can flourish, not just one. By no means does anybody want to see the end of any of the predators, but we just want to bring them into check, that's all, and give other wildlife the opportunity to thrive.
The number one factor, I would find, if you would do sensitive habitat management here, sensitive grazing patterns and whatnot from the inception of the project without predator control, I would say you'd probably get 10% of the wildlife that we have now, if you're lucky. You know, it's a very, very, very important element to it all. And again, it's very contentious, but I always like to explain predator control as a little evil for a greater good.
It's on moors like this, the vulnerable species like curlew need the most protection. Predators like foxes, rats and crows are their biggest threat.
It's really a conversation that not many people are having now. They're not having a frank, open conversation of predation because it's so contentious. You know, you're controlling one animal to protect another and you're sort of acting as God nearly of trying to step in. But without our intervention and without hand of man, we won't be able to deliver all these environmental benefits for all the species that we love: curlew, grouse, golden plover, snipe, lapwing.
Grouse are also thriving on the moors thanks to the work of gamekeepers. The Irish Grouse Conservation Trust says the conservation work on managed moors helps many other endangered species too.
For curlew and for lapwing and other birds and wildlife is here. We have a very, very big population of hares and a big population of birds of prey here, and it shows that in all things, whenever the management is increased and the predators controlled, that it benefits the whole balance.
Gamekeepers point to controlled burning as an essential tool for creating habitats for wildlife.
We do a lot of controlled burning here, another contentious issue, controlled burning and a bit of flailing as well. So we find that a combination of the two really brings a huge benefit for all wildlife and also for a grazing element as well, very good for grazing animals like sheep, but also our hare population here as well. And we also hold 60% of Northern Ireland's grouse population in one small hill, around 3,000 acres here, and approximately 23% of Northern Ireland's curlew.
Gamekeepers have transformed the wildlife on these moors. Without their work, it would be a different story.
The reason this is such a success is simply down to the fact that the ground is managed, and we have such experienced and knowledgeable gamekeepers as Merlin. It's only through his and others' efforts that means that the balance is struck here, and curlew and other wildlife can flourish, and there's a balance through predator control. So it is, and the work here can only be described as fantastic.
There's no 9 to 5 hours in achieving this. There's a big commitment and effort that's put in by the gamekeeper and the Irish Grouse Conservation Trust. That work has to be done. You know, armchair gamekeepers doesn't work.
The RSPB have asked us on several occasions, so how long would you think it would take for things to be lost? And no shadow of a doubt, and I'm not sort of trying to be this as a devil's advocate, but I would say in 12 months there wouldn't be a single curlew chick left if we stopped the predator control in this area here. Hares would probably hang on probably for 3 years, but I would say probably less than 5 years' time there would be absolutely nothing, because the level of predation pressure, particularly in Northern Ireland where we are at the moment, and a lot of parts of the country as well, in England, Scotland, Wales. I was lucky enough to work in all the countries across the water. The level of foxes now in the countryside and generalist predators is huge.
Gamekeepers and shooters know that the conservation industry campaigns against their work, but they are determined to continue their efforts to help birds such as the curlew.